Oh, I see you're still walking.
Yes,
I
yes.
wasn't even
I'm almost home.
all right. All right. Well, the stream is
I was like, here's
live.
my dog, your doggo cam. The people will respect the pepper. So what's with this molecular formula for sucrose?
Oh, no, it was for a good joke. Someone in one of the discords was like, "Can you even draw sugar?" I just sent an image of that.
That's hilarious. Can you draw sugar?
Yeah.
That's an
He
interesting
just
question.
responded with, "I've had it with you."
That's a really interesting question.
I mean, you can draw sugar, like
Yeah, I mean, shit, we can draw an
it's
atom.
just a little powdery thing. I mean, it comes in multiple forms. All right. Anyway, need to post some shit at.
Oh,
Okay.
Cosmic Skeptic. I love that guy.
Oh yeah, Alex.
Everyone, yeah. Everyone who's like a theist either really respects him or hates him.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It
Eh,
is funny. It's interesting how many Christians respect him because he's bro. What are you doing? Get your ass over here. Oh, you're an asshole. I mean, yeah, I love his questioning. He's so open-minded.
Yeah, he's very good about all of it.
Yeah, so like I respect his honesty and also his ability to like call someone out but not seem like an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But everyone gets mad because he like doesn't debate the like Jay Dyers of the world, the ones who are like the precepts. I
Mm-hmm.
want to see him debate a precept.
That'd be
I don't know.
that'd be fun.
Yeah, maybe he has. I'll have to look that up because I wonder how he would dismantle a precept. Or maybe he just doesn't think it's worth his time because it's so frustrating. He like really only talks to people who are like honest interlocutors,
Yeah,
except
yeah,
for
which
except
makes
for that one
sense.
guy, the Mohammed Hijab. You know who that guy is?
No, I don't think so.
He's like a prominent Muslim apologist.
Okay.
He's such an asshole.
Well, you're
He's so condescending.
you're definitely the one that's like more involved in all this. So
Yeah.
I know of Alex O'Connor and Drew, genetically modified
Oh
skeptic.
yeah, Jennifer. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly.
I like both.
Yeah, they're both great.
All right, into my humble abode.
Get in there, get in the house,
Those motherfuckers.
get your ass ready for some potential
All
debating.
right, all right. You ready? She's gonna leap out onto the stairs when as soon as I take this off. Oh my god. She doesn't like hanging out with me. She only likes my mom. It's like a humongous imprint. All right, let me. Do I need coffee? I don't think I do. Actually, I could go for some tea. Maybe I'll make some oolong.
I wonder if this guy's gonna try and hop into our Discord. His name. He has zealot in his name. This is the guy that called Squid and I Satan worshippers. He
God, I
he
would not want to talk to that guy.
I mean, it would be entertaining, but I would like Squid to be here for that because he enjoys it too. Um,
Yeah. I'm just
Probably
more
be good for some
into
clips.
people. That's true. But I'm not. I don't know if I could talk to a precept right now. I don't know.
Can you
Dude,
ever
they
talk
just
to a
annoy.
precept?
Only if I'm like texting them because I'm just
Mm,
like I have to take a moment, and just be
yeah.
like, Jesus fucking Christ, this guy is so dishonest.
Mm-hmm.
Um.
Oh yeah, this guy
So.
definitely makes a lot of assumptions and shit.
Oh yeah, like,
So, oh wait, I
and
need
he
to
just
actually
yells,
pull up
and
the
I'm not in the
stream so
mood
I can
for
pull up the
yellers,
chat.
old yellers.
Oh, he is definitely that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Boop boop boop.
Hmm.
And let me switch YouTube account.
No free clout.
No free clout.
We
uh,
have a huge following, bro. Massive following.
a massive following. True.
Yeah.
Uh, Wait, someone say like
We
no
got
free. Did
Steffi
someone
in
say
line.
like
That's all we need.
true?
What did you say?
Oh, it said true.
Oh, okay.
Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Live, live, live. Make sure I can see the chats. That's important. Oh, Muhammad, I arrived from the Discord server's invite links. I might not be able to stay until the stream begins, but I wish all a good debate. Try to have fun. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, just for coming by and saying that. I appreciate it, actually.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So let me pop out these chats so I can see. There's honestly like a decent amount of like little bits of prep work here and there I have to do before every stream. Eh. Eh.
Let me set up my computer real quick.
Okay,
Set up my board and everything.
Getting your shit set up. Yeah.
Man, my dogs like walk over my board, and now it's all like.
We got someone in the waiting room.
Oh,
no,
sweet.
he just
Bring
left.
him up. Oh.
Well, so I think they go by Stotsky. They're in the Ian's channel as well. They're also an atheist. So I don't know what we would necessarily talk about.
I think maybe they wanted to join to hear if there was a debate going on, and then they were like,
Maybe.
"Oh,
There's
nothing's
Stotsky.
happening."
Stotsky's back. Oh, whoops. Yeah, I forgot I was watching that. Oop. I was watching some Sakamoto.
Yeah, we could just do some banter for a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. All right, Stotsky, you're coming up. Stotsky.
Hey, how's it going, bro?
The magical Stotsky is here.
Yeah.
We've been waiting all this time.
Fucking Stoats. Fucking love Stoats.
Fucking man.
Just make sure. What are your age and pronouns?
He, him, 26.
Cool.
Any fetus I identify as no.
Oh boy.
I freaking love when like, did you hear that one yesterday that was like I don't even know how he knows how to use phone.
Well, was it on like Ian's stream?
Yeah.
No, I didn't get much of a chance to actually watch it. I had it like on the side and quiet so I could at least support them, but I wasn't able to actually like actively listen in on it.
Yeah, same.
But would have been cool. So
yeah, always entertaining.
So Stotsky, did you want to like discuss anything in particular, or are you just chilling for a little bit?
Just chilling.
Cool.
What do you normally debate
Okay.
even?
So there are three of us. There's me. I tend to debate on, like abortion and trans rights, some more social things. In saying that the abortion debate is just silly at this point, so I'm starting to lean away from it. I still engage in it because of bad habit, I guess, but
You can't stop yourself. Bad addiction.
true, it's true. Let's see. Coffee
Like
here.
me engaging with flat earthers is just an addiction at this
It's
point.
just an addiction,
So
yeah.
fun.
A trainer.
It's so bad
Oh,
though.
Yeah, well, yeah. And Coffee, what do you like to talk about? Also, Coffee is from Ian's Discord as well. That's where we met.
Yeah, I normally like to talk about the God topic. It's just super interesting. It's super interesting on the different types of beliefs that orient their whole entire framework of living, and I just find that fascinating. And yeah, and
Wish to-
everyone
wish
has
to
like different
understand.
reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Uh,
find it pretty fascinating and thought provoking, even if I don't agree with them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what I like to talk about.
And the guy who's not here tends to lean into things that deal with like policies, like in government and whatnot. He does have like a stance on abortion. He can kind of talk about a fair amount of things. He's also a law student. One of the things he's been focusing on lately is Christian nationalism and how awful it is.
You Christian nationalism.
Yeah, so,
Yeah,
so
it's pretty
that's
good.
one of our topics
The
that
Christian
we do.
part doesn't really make it worse. It's just the nationalist part that's bad.
Well,
Well, the Christian part just dictates what type of rules I think are being really thrown out there, kind of.
Yeah.
It was funny. I was playing Metro Exodus, and the more and more I play it, the more I realize that it has like some interesting like. It kind of has some interesting themes around like religion.
sure.
Where
Yeah.
like there's like groups of people who like are against the electrical demons and like they don't follow electricity and they worship a giant catfish.
Those damn electrical
little-
demons that worship giant catfish. I want to be a little goblin demon that worships a giant catfish. That sounds great. As
Yeah,
long as I'm also electrified.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It also has like some interest, like the previous games, like the first. I think it's also reflected in the books, but like
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
previous games, they really talk about like how like societies form and stuff, like in like a post-apocalyptic world where like
Sure. Yeah.
there's the Reds who are like very communist, and then there's the Reich who are very 1930s Germany
Fascist.
ish. Yeah, fascist.
Yeah.
I couldn't find the right word. But yeah,
Okay.
it's interesting. Fun games though too. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Coffee and I are probably gonna, at least while waiting for other people to join in, we're probably gonna be watching some Alex O'Connor and just reacting to that, more or less. Again, until we get potential callers, which if there's anyone in the chat that would like to discuss whether or not the Abrahamic God is evil, feel free to follow the link in the title, and that'll bring you to our Discord, and we can pull you up from the waiting room, just like what I did with Stotsky.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would like to talk with you more, Stotsky. Don't get me wrong, but
oh no, I get it.
yeah, we have to like do the thing.
Lock in, brother.
Lock in. Alright. So, do you mind hopping out, Stotsky?
Oh yeah, I'll go. Bye.
All right, see ya.
Thanks, so appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
But you don't want this don't here. No, I'm kidding. Bye.
We need you. We need you. You're in spirit.
Yes. I like Stotsky. He posts
Yeah,
a
I
lot.
used to.
He posts a lot of weaselly things.
Of
In
course,
this,
I
and I
expect
and
nothing less.
I fucking love weasel. I love weasels and weasel-like objects. They're cute. So anyway, are you ready to go down?
I'm all teed up.
All right, here we go. It is a Catholic, a Protestant, atheist, and agnostic discuss the problem of evil. Weasel-like objects. Yep, 100% Stotsky. You know, just for you, let me pull up a quick video that I'm sure you've seen. I think I showed it. That probably won't work. Oh, yeah, there we go. The very famous
Aw.
video of a sable.
Oh my god!
Look at it. Look at it.
So fucking cute, bro.
It's so fucking cute. I really want a sable, but taking care of anything that's a weasel, including, you know, just common ferrets.
Common
It can be a
ferrets.
nightmare. Anyway, here we go.
A Catholic, a Protestant, an atheist, and an agnostic all walk into a house in the Bible Belt. This sounds like the beginning of a joke, but it is in fact the beginning of today's episode of the Cosmic Skeptic podcast, because in a rather ambitious attempt to expand the podcast and make it reach new heights, I've invited three.
You know, now that I think about it, if we were to watch this, I mean, it's like these people are already discussing the subject that we're trying to discuss, so it's like, would we...
That's a good question.
Would we even have a whole lot to say here?
Yeah, I was thinking like just like a specific theist talking about shit, and we can comment on it.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's look up theist problem of evil. It's Crash Course. Oh, this is Crash Course?
I like Crash Course.
Oh, of course. I love the brothers. The Green
Dude,
brothers.
they're so chill. I'd smoke a joint with them.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, this guy,
Hey, I've never seen this.
Mr. You never seen this guy?
No, this isn't my subject.
He's I would say he's relatively prominent within the apologist. Like I know for a fact Matt Dillahunty
Mm-hmm.
debated him. So that's how you know. Like if Matt Dillahunty has debated them, they're somewhat well known.
Gotcha.
The problem of
Somewhat.
evil is the most used and biggest objection to the existence of God. There is not a skeptic out there who doesn't cite the existence of evil as a reason God probably does not exist.
You know, I don't even with this, I don't even necessarily use it to prove God doesn't exist. I just use it to prove that God is evil if he does.
Well, okay. So
Problem of Stoats.
I think, yeah, I think that that the claim God is not or all loving contradicts the
Yeah.
reality in which we live in. So
Yeah.
if the claim is that God is all loving, that God does not exist,
yeah,
or
the
that's
God
not one
is
of his
all good.
properties.
Yeah, so within this contradiction, there's no way it could exist. I would just say that
Exactly.
Christians misunderstood God.
So yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, not that I believe the Abrahamic God exists, so
And so we need to be frank. This is a serious objection that Christians cannot simply overlook. And there are no answers to the problem of evil that can explain every horrible event. The reason why this is a persistent objection.
Oh, so you don't have a solution to every problem. Great, we won.
All right, W.
Yeah, big W.
All right, let's call it.
All right. All right, let's continue.
Is because of the emotional sting that evil causes runs deep for mankind. Why does God allow so much pain and misery? Does God really love us if he can look down and see a child being tortured and not stop it? Any one of us would if we came across such a horrible act. Yet the omniscient God does
We're
nothing.
better than God.
And simply
Huh? Oh, those
I said,
people are
sounds like we're better than God.
True.
lets evil continue unchecked. Why? I've spent years researching this and have delayed a formal video on it because I wanted to take my time and give it a fair treatment. Again, this is a serious issue that needs to be addressed.
Actually, since you know this person, are they like pretty genuine? Do they seem chill? Or
Yes, they are chill.
okay.
They're not as condescending as some of the others, like Jay Dyer.
Charlie Kirk.
But yeah. Well, honestly, I wouldn't even call him an apologist. He's just the dumb fuck.
Oh yeah, he is just dumb fuck. Well, I was saying he's
He's
condescending.
ingenuine. Oh yeah, absolutely. Fucking Ben Shapiro. Oh, what's that other asshole's name? Michael Knowles. Oh.
Jordan Peterson, of course. But
Yeah.
he's also not. Is Jordan Peterson technically an apologist? I don't think so.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, considering he won't
Or
outright claim
Just
that
a
he's
low
even
tier
Christian.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say he's a low tier one, if anything.
At anything.
If anything, dude.
Oh, if anything. Oh yes.
Yeah.
After you left the last stream, Squid and I were talking about Jordan Peterson a bit, and from what Squid told me, Jordan Peterson as a clinical psychologist was actually quite good. Like he had some, I think, like allegedly he had some like good books on it and some good self-help stuff, which is nice. I just wish he maybe would stick to that.
Oh, absolutely. I just think he realized that he had a certain group that he could I wouldn't say take
mission.
advantage of, but yeah,
He's
he
on a
knows the group that he kind of like revitalized, like a
Yeah.
certain type of people, specifically men that
I will say I don't think Jordan Peterson tries to actually like be a grifter.
maybe.
I mean, it's kind of well, as Squid was saying, so he joined the Daily Wire, and Squid, as he would put it, his schizo theories, is that there's no way, and I agree, is like there's no way Jordan Peterson would have done this thing with Jubilee unless like he was forced to, because he does not seem like the type of person that would do that or would be on that. To me.
Yeah, I don't know enough about him to make any claims or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know him that well either, but just like how he is, and you know, Daily Wire is very much a property that promotes their characters basically, or you know, their people and stuff. So it's like, oh well, Jordan Peterson, to stick with us, you have to go on Daily Wire to, you know, increase your branding or to better your branding and stuff like that. Not that it did well for him, I guess, but
Maybe.
Anyway, actually, before we start, I need to use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Go for it. Natural theology. Ew, William Lane Craig. Bleh, bleh, bleh. I don't know. The fine tuning argument sounds good on its face, but I don't know. I just don't know how you get to the Christian God. That just seems like a big leap, you know? Quite a leap, eh? I'm gonna make him hydrate. Hold up. Hydrate, bitch.
And we're back. We back, baby. All right, starting it up.
But over the years in my research, I have come to the conclusion the only way to address the problem of
Gosh,
evil
me- just
is
make me
not just
piss
through
some more.
philosophy, although that is part of it. Because the problem of evil stings emotionally more than anything else. I'm indebted to Clay Jones for this, but one cannot truly address the problem of evil without the message of the gospel. I don't think the problem of evil can be answered without Christianity, and I'll explain why later on.
I mean, we wouldn't have the problem. We wouldn't have the problem of evil without claim that there's a God.
I mean,
If you know.
if he means by the definition of his properties, I guess.
Mm.
I just don't understand his point on that. Why we need the Bible to determine, like, if we already have the properties, like, already,
Set in stone.
yeah, like, I think what he probably means is that the Bible tells us the justification, which it doesn't.
Yeah.
Um, of
At
like,
least for some of it,
I
it
think what he's
doesn't.
referring to. What's that?
At least for some of it doesn't have justification. Maybe not. for
Yeah,
any of it.
I mean,
Or if it does
I
have
mean,
justification, it's not. It would not be universally justified, considered justified.
yeah, I mean, like, we have to use our own interpretation of the text in order to understand it. So,
Hmm.
like, we're already using our perception in order to understand God. And can we, like, truly rely on our interpretations of the Bible?
Yeah, that's the thing. And
Um,
then there's also the different translations, and it's
yeah, I mean, that's a
messy.
separate issue.
That is a separate issue. Yeah.
But
Make
I
sure
don't
to
know.
pull up your notes. There we go.
Yeah, no, I have it. I'm
Yeah,
just
no, I
riffing.
had to pull them up
Yeah,
just in case.
but yeah, no. But basically, like, what I think he's trying to do is get to the fall of man,
Hmm.
of why evil exists.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
my
Original
guess
sin
is
and all
he's
that.
going to go into, yeah, he's going to go into free will, and that Adam and Eve ate an apple and shit from a
Mm.
tree that, I don't know, dude. It's just so authoritarian in the beginning. Hey, I'm gonna present a tree in your approximate radius, and I don't want you to eat from it, but it looks really fucking good.
Mm-hmm,
Like,
mm-hmm.
these apples are
It's
so
like
fucking good.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
tempt you on
yeah,
purpose and know the result before it
yeah.
even happens.
And guess what? I'm gonna put a fucking talking snake, a mythological snake, in there to coerce you into doing it. And I feel like coercion isn't necessarily like free will. I don't believe in free will,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if you're like freely choosing it if you're being coerced. Um, I don't know. And he lied. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It's
He's a bitch.
he's a bastard.
But first, we need to begin by going over what the problem of evil is and the different types of arguments. I would suspect the problem of evil has been used for millennia, but the logical problem of evil was famously given by the ancient Greek philosopher Epicurus, and is what most people think of when they think of the problem of evil. Premise 1. If God is all good, then he wants to stop evil. Premise 2. If God is all powerful, then he can stop evil. Premise 3. There is evil. Conclusion. Therefore, there is not an all-powerful and all-good God.
If God is all good, then he wants to stop evil. That doesn't technically track.
You
would
said
say.
what?
No, with the first premise. Like obviously this is a premise against God being good. It's like if God
I
is all
think
good, then he wants to stop evil. I think that's would technically be like an assumption.
Well, yeah, no, it's not even just that. It's like if he's the creator and he has the ability to even like start a universe, um, then he wouldn't have even given this type of universe that much evil. And I would probably amend it because I feel like it's
Yeah.
possible for an all good God to allow some evil, but gratuitous suffering I don't think is compatible with an all good God and who's all
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah, I would just word it a little differently.
Hmm.
All right. Oop.
However, this argument is not used by most modern atheistic philosophers.
Hello, Gandalf the
because it ignored
3D.
another important attribute of God, his omniscience.
Welcome to
Being
the
that
stream.
God is all-knowing, he might in his perfect knowledge have very good reasons
And
for
we're doing
allowing
okay.
evil that we
How about
cannot
you?
see. Agnostic Paul Draper notes that some serious attempts have been given that show evil is logically compatible with God's existence. Specifically, he says Alvin Plantinga's free will defense has persuaded many. Plantinga says of his free will defense, a world containing creatures who are significantly free and freely perform more good than evil actions is more valuable, all else being equal, than a world containing no free creatures at all. Now God can create free creatures, but he can't cause or determine them to do only what is right. For if he does so, then they aren't significantly free after all. They do not do what is right freely. To create creatures capable of moral good, therefore, he must create creatures capable of moral evil, and he can't give these creatures the freedom to perform evil and at the same time prevent them from doing so. As it turned out, sadly enough, some of the free creatures God created went wrong in the exercise of their freedom. And this is
Oh
the
no,
source of
I called
moral
it again.
evil. The fact that free creatures sometimes go wrong, however, counts neither against God's omnipotence nor against his goodness, for he could have forestalled the occurrence of moral evil only by removing the possibility of moral good. Paul Draper notes, in order for a logical art of moral good,
He could have forestalled the occurrence of moral evil only by removing the possibility. So, this basically says that morality is relative.
Wait, one more time? Is goodness for he could hold on.
He could have forestalled the occurrence. It basically says moral evil cannot exist without moral good. To compare with it, I guess. Which would
I'm trying to.
which would be a point towards moral relativism, I would say.
Well, if we follow the Bible, then it's somewhat. I mean, depending on which parts of the Bible you accept, the God has given relative morals to the Israelites
Yeah.
versus everyone else.
You guys have free will, the others don't.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't think it answers evils that don't involve free will, like
Mhm.
natural disasters.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that will talk about free will.
I'm assuming
Unless-
he'll get to it
unless-
eventually, but
Maybe, but I mean, someone could probably make the crazy argument that they had the free will to live where they live. They didn't have to live there, so they had the free will to decide not to live there, and the consequences of living there are
yeah.
fucking earthquake.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but then
there's-
that can't be applied to everybody.
Exactly. There I forgot what Alex O'Connor calls it, but it's basically like the whole system is pretty unfair because it's basically determined on where you're born.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
It was
there
like,
are some.
It was like the problem of geology or geography or something like that. I don't remember.
something like that.
The Geographical
also there are-
condition.
People that live in like the Amazon who don't have
Mhm.
access to like the Bible or anything. They don't have access to Christianity.
Yep.
So fuck them, huh? Fuck them.
Well,
Straight up fuck them.
well, then Christians have like a couple solutions of when it comes to people that never received the opportunity to be Christian or learn about it, but the results vary on that.
Yeah. Well, I know I believe the Muslim faith, they have an answer to this, that if you don't know the text, then you're not going to be eternally punished. But if you know the text and you reject it, then you are sent to hell.
Yeah.
That's,
So just never tell them about it, and they're good.
Yeah, dog. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I
it's-
read a little bit of the Quran.
It's
I'm
like
fucked.
it literally means that early missionaries going to areas that did not have Christianity were just harbingers of doom, or any Abrahamic religion. It literally, it's like why would you talk to them if it risks them being sent to eternal suffering and torment? This is wild to me. But obviously, you said that was like a Muslim thing. I know some Christians have followed that too, but
Yeah.
I don't know the specifics on it. I've also heard it like you will be sent to like a pleasant purgatory or something like that, which also kind of fucked up. It's like, well, sure, it's pleasant, quote unquote pleasant purgatory, but it's like, well, now they didn't even have the chance to have something supposedly better. So it's just rough. It's just bad.
Paul Draper notes, in order for a logical argument from evil to succeed, it is necessary to show that, for some known fact about evil, it is logically impossible for God to have a good moral reason to permit that fact to obtain. This, however, is precisely what most philosophers nowadays believe cannot be shown. And so the free will defense succeeds in showing it is at least logically possible for God to exist alongside evil. Because it might be the case a world with free will and evil is more valuable than a world with no free will and no evil. And thus William Rowe has to admit.
I mean,
Isn't that a
and-
presupposition? Like, how do you know it's a better world?
yeah, how would
We
you
don't
know
even
it's
have a
better
reference
or
to
it's
it.
worse? Yeah, exactly. So that would just be a total presupposition. Also, no, it's like free will defense succeeds in showing that it is at least logically possible for God to exist alongside evil. However, why doesn't he get rid of it? But then he goes into the other thing, which is a presupposition. They say good cannot exist without evil, which means morality is relative, straight up. But
Wait, what do you mean by that?
so basically, so the reason moral good cannot exist without moral evil is because you have nothing to compare goodness to. Therefore, it's just all there, and would technically be no like morality to it, because there would be no moral scale because it's just quote unquote all good. But how do you know if it's good if you can't compare it to anything else that's worse?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Basically,
And
so
so I don't even know how people can claim that God is all good when the only reference to goodness is within their perception.
yeah,
And
in their
if God
perception
has
of evil,
what's that?
in their perception of evil.
I mean, yeah, it's like, how do you know what's evil and what's not unless you appeal to a God
Mm-hmm.
that you claim is all good, but you don't know is all good? I mean, it's just silly because they sneak in the assumption that he's good
Yeah.
without being able to define good.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
They're
he's
just
like
oh, he's good because he's good.
and then he's infinitely good, which we cannot comprehend infinity. So there's no way we would know if he is infinitely good.
I don't even know what that means, infinitely good. What, always good? I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, it would be like always good for all existence. Everything he does is good. Or
Is it always good
or is ultimately good. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. At least I'm assuming. I mean, it just says infinite good, which we can't comprehend any sort of infinity. So there's the presupposition that he just is these things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's presup.
Yep.
That's presup.
Yep. It's a lot of
right
presup.
there.
Might be the case a world with free will and evil is more valuable than a world with no free will and no evil. And thus William Rowe.
I mean, if it was
I'll
only
pause it.
Yep.
If God is all powerful, couldn't he create a universe in which it was the case that there not being free will is still valuable?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, like, the thing is, like, God could literally be like, we have a moral good world, and God is like, this world is good, and everyone is like, yeah, this world is good. And just, like, everyone's happy. Cool.
Without needless suffering.
Yeah.
I mean,
Granted,
like,
granted that
I
would
can-
be an argument against free will, probably, but
Gotcha.
yeah. Either way. I mean, did you have something to say?
I forget now.
That's a ghost.
Has to admit, there is a fairly compelling argument for the view that the existence of evil is logically consistent with the existence of a theistic God.
No, it says
Yeah,
there's a fairly compelling argument.
Yeah, I just don't. It's for me, like, I can concede that there can be certain evils. Like, I can concede that, like, um, I mean, obviously it depends on how we define evil.
Yeah.
But if you want to equate like pain with evil, like for example, like if you put your hand on a stove,
Yeah.
like yeah, that's gonna be painful, but now you understand not to do that. I can concede that that type of quote unquote evil is granted and like needed, but with things like earthquakes, cancer, and like certain diseases, I just don't know how the world would look differently if these things didn't exist. I would
Mm.
think it would look a little better, but they're still being evil.
Yeah. I mean, but so for something to be evil, does it have to be an act of intent? I would argue that maybe just putting your hand on a stove and it burning your hand would be technically amoral. It's just
Sure,
just happens.
but if everything that God does is moral,
Yeah.
he created the nervous system
Yeah.
where that pain is like there.
Mhm.
So it's but I mean, yeah, you're right. There's intent involved, but like of course like it's how you define evil.
Ye-
But like I don't know, it's kind of evil for someone to create a nervous system that it creates that much pain.
Yeah. You could argue God's a utilitarian. He's like, all right, this
Yeah,
amount of
those are both-
suffering is fine because the benefits outweigh the side effects.
Yeah,
Basically.
I mean like that's the kind of evil I'm talking about.
God's a utilitarian, confirmed. Anyway, all right, back to it.
What most atheists argue today is the evidential problem of evil, which today is where the real debate is, because it is a probabilistic argument. It argues that given the amount of evil in the world, it is unlikely an all-loving, all-powerful God exists. As Paul Draper says, Premise 1. Gratuitous evil exists. Premise 2. The hypothesis of indifference, i.e., that if there are supernatural beings, they are indifferent to gratuitous evils, is a better explanation for one than theism.
I agree.
Conclusion, therefore, evidence prefers that no God, as commonly understood by theists, exists.
That's where I would say I am, basically.
Yeah, that's the argument I would use.
Yeah. It's like
Or
it's
at
like
least close enough.
I can technically say I'm agnostic because it's like maybe there's like a deist deity or deistic deity, whereas it just comes. It's like
It's hilarious.
God's there, creates universe, fucks off.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I'm like,
shit,
yeah,
you
you know what?
can-
Sure, I'd believe it.
Yo, what if God just doesn't have empathy?
What he just doesn't care. He's just watching. He's like, this
Yeah,
is great.
he's just a
I
sociopath.
love this TV. This television.
Yeah,
program.
dude. I can't wait for next season.
True. World War III.
Well, if he's eternal, he's seen all the seasons at once.
Damn, so he's just watching reruns. That's
I
kinda
mean, I don't
depressing.
even know if it's called reruns. I mean,
Or-
like it's he literally watches it all at once, and I don't think they're.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know.
I
if
don't
it's
know.
Linear or not.
No, that's infinite expectation, infinite reruns. It's
Jesus Christ.
It's a contradiction.
I don't know, dude.
So-
The
but-
eternal, not being eternal is weird.
True.
Perhaps Sam Harris explains the issue of evil in a far more relatable way. Somewhere in the world, a man has abducted a little girl. Soon he will rape, torture, and kill her. If an atrocity of this kind is not occurring at precisely this moment, it will happen in a few hours or days at most. The girl's parents believe, at this very moment, that an all-powerful and all-loving God is watching over them and their family. Are they right to believe this? Is it good that they believe this? No. The entirety of atheism is contained in this response.
I don't think. No,
Wait,
no,
I'm
that-
confused.
So I think this goes into the thing that like multiple theists say about atheists, where it's like, oh, we think all of it's bad, and it was like all religion's bad. You shouldn't be religious. Blah blah blah. It's like no, that's not necessarily what we try to say. It's just, I mean, ideally, we just don't want you like pushing shit, I guess.
Are they right to believe this? Is it? I don't understand what he means. Are they right to believe this? Is it good that they believe this? No.
No.
If it's the
It's
case
insane.
that this belief makes them not like really react in the way that they should, then yeah, I
mean,
wouldn't
that would
say
be
it's.
bad, yeah.
Yeah, I just I don't understand what
Like-
Sam Harris is really getting at.
Like I would say, like if they call the appropriate authorities and everything, and then everything is left to the professionals. If they want to pray, if they want to believe God will help them, if that makes them feel better about the situation, 100% do it.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be like, oh well, God doesn't exist, so your child's fucked or something like that. Like that. No, that would be just really shitty to do. It's like,
Yeah, I don't think there's morals involved here. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading it wrong.
I think it's fine if they believe it, as long as they
Yeah.
take the measures to actually save their child.
Yeah, I mean, like if it's the case that, yeah, I mean, there's like some Christian scientists, I think it's Christian scientists that believe that prayer is better than like modern medicine, and so that, like for example, like they won't take their children to like a doctor if they get like a flu or get some type of disease. They'll use prayer
Yeah.
or something.
bad.
Those are the people that should not have kids.
100%. Like, yeah, no, just straight up 100%. Like, I mean, there's something to be said about like the placebo effect for some things, but the placebo
Sure.
effect doesn't get rid of the flu or COVID or a cold
I mean,
or
it doesn't even.
dysentery.
Oh God, yeah, leprosy or something. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the placebo effect usually just works on the person who thinks it is working,
Who believes
not
it? Yeah.
on some. Yeah, like if I believe it, maybe it works. But if I'm praying and using that placebo effect on someone else, I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah, and like they
Especially for a child.
they 100%
They don't fucking know.
They need to provide medical care to their child, basically.
Oh,
like
obviously.
actual
Fuck.
scientifically backed medical care, and then you can pray after that.
I mean, you could pray
That's
during, but fuck.
Sure, yeah. It's like, please, like, pray that this medical care will work.
Right?
Yeah.
As you can see, the issue many skeptics have is, given the amount of horrendous evil in the world, how can an all-loving God allow this to happen, especially if he has the power to stop it? Surely it is far more likely there is no such God.
Pics.
The issue itself has to be addressed by looking at what moral evil is. It cannot be brushed over as mere hardship. To put it bluntly, as C.S. Lewis said, the Christian answer that we have used our free will to become very bad is so well known that it hardly needs to be stated. But to bring this doctrine into real life, in the minds of modern men, and even modern Christians, is very hard. We need to really look at what evil is, and I'm not going to hold any punches back or give a cheap account,
Yeah.
so viewer discretion is advised.
Okay, it's gonna be like
The reality is, the atheists are right, that our history is filled with insurmountable, horrendous evil. The reality we all
W confession.
True. I mean, I appreciate that. But I wonder if he'll go on to suffering of animals that aren't human. I'm wondering if he'll go there.
Yeah,
have
that's
to
Alex
face-
O'Connor's thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great argument, to be honest.
I mean, like, shit, dude. Why
Yeah.
why couldn't you
They're all
create
God's creatures.
yeah, I mean, like, shit. I mean, bro, you genocided fucking. I mean, if animals can't be moral or immoral, if they don't have the capacity to have like morals, then why the fuck would you punish them?
Yeah, I don't know.
Did God give animals free will? And if so, what the fuck?
There's a lot of questions there.
All right.
his genocide is not inhumane. Despite that little lie we like to tell our face, his horrendous
Wait, what'd you say?
evil. The reality we all have to face, his genocide, is not inhumane. Despite that little lie we like to tell ourselves. Genocide is very much human. When the Bible says humans are totally depraved, it is meant to be a very serious claim. Matt Dillhunt.
Yeah, I'm into
Wait,
some weird
I am-
shit. I agree.
Shit. Who created humans again?
Right. In his image, by the way.
Fuck. Yeah, I mean, shit. Who commanded the genocide of the Amalekites, Canaanites, Midianites? Shit, I can't remember. Fuck.
Fuck. It's like at the top. It's at the tip of my tongue.
It's at the
Hunty
tip of my
and
tongue.
many others have argued the Bible is an evil book that poisons our
Nothing good
minds,
about it. All
telling us we are totally depraved.
all it does is poison minds. All it does is make you sacrifice your humanity, the only thing that you have that is of any value, in order to sit around in deference to your gods. Blah, 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 blah.
Is a horrible thing to say and degrades us as humans. Well, that would only be true if the Bible was lying and we are not actually depraved. If I was suffering from narcissism and you told me I was a narcissist and needed to get psychiatric help, that would only be a horrible thing to say if it was false. If it was true, then it might.
I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I don't agree
Can you
with
rewind
that.
it?
I don't think I agree with that.
If the Bible was lying, we are not actually depraved. If I was suffering from narcissism and you told me I was a narcissist and needed to get psychiatric help, that would only be a horrible thing to say if it was false.
No, that can still be a shitty thing. I mean, it depends on the delivery of calling him a narcissist and saying you need some. Like, I could be like, "You're such a narcissist. Go get some. You need fucking help or something." It's like, yeah, that comes across as kind of aggressive, but I'd be like, "Hey, so I've noticed you have some narcissistic tendencies, and I think maybe you should go see like maybe get some professional help with that or something like that." It's like it doesn't matter if it's true or false. It's based upon delivery. It's based upon
Yeah,
communication
it was.
skills.
Yeah, intent.
Exactly. Oh, I would debate, but I don't use Discord. We can debate on my show though, God TV Radio, the Brett Keens show. Yeah, maybe at another time I'd be down. Let me check out your channel real quick.
Interesting.
I'm looking at your profile picture right now, and I can't tell if that's like. Oh no, it says on the air. For a second, I thought that was a mustache. To be honest.
Oh, for real?
It got a little. Yeah, here. I thought it was. It said it's a little thing that says on the air, and I thought it was a mustache.
I thought it was too.
So yeah, what I'll do is I'll subscribe to you, and then if you ever go on live, then maybe if you don't mind having like both of us, Coffee is more of the talker for this subject. But yeah, if you're fine with like having both of us come up, yeah, at some point that might be fun. Oh, and you also have some music. You got a band camp. I won't play it.
Hell yeah,
here,
dog.
but let's go.
Prison Troubles are right about
Do you
everything.
need-
That's
do you need a
crazy
singer?
work.
Do you need a singer?
President Trump.
Wait, what?
Oh my god. Oh, it's President Trump was right about everything.
Oh wait, is that one of his videos?
I mean that shit that was on the fucking stream.
Wait for him.
Yeah,
For
that's whatever.
oh no, sure, you can bring whoever you like. All right, bet. Thanks. I will. I'll say I'll check it out, but I don't always have the best memory. But I am subscribed to you now, so I will hit the bell, and then we should be able to see when you, or I should be able to see when you go live. Now, be, hey, Gavi, you want to go in? We going in.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Anyway, we will continue our video. Thanks for reaching out.
As long as it's not like an authoritarian show, though. I think if yeah.
Yeah, I'm always down for like discussion. I'm not much of like a formal debater, but I do live shows every Monday and Friday. You guys are welcome anytime. Appreciate it.
Yep.
It was true that it might have been the best
If you ever
thing
get
could have told
Discord,
me,
feel free to hop
because
in.
you would want to see me get help and overcome my mental disorder. So if the Bible claims that we are
Wait, hold on.
totally, that it might only be a horrible thing to say if it was false. If it was true, that it might have been the best thing you could have told me, because you would want to see me get help and overcome my mental disorder.
It depends on the intent of the message. That's
You too, well.
take
You
it.
too, bro.
You too well. Yep, take it easy.
Yep. I've not. What? Did you say something?
No, you said you too well in response to it.
I yes.
Yeah, you
I
had
did.
one of those moments. Like I
I'll
do.
consent. Yeah.
If the Bible claims that we are totally depraved, we ought to test that against reality, and it will
Test that
help us
against
better understand what moral evil is. What I'm about to go over will be a hard pill to swallow, and it will
Will it
take
be?
some time to unpack, because once
Got
we
it.
understand human nature, I suggest the problem of evil falls into context.
So I already kind of see an issue here. This guy might claim to know objective facts about human nature, which we have tendencies, obviously, but I'm curious what he's gonna say.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I'm curious too. I'm not
See,
gonna jump the gun.
We
You
like
don't?
to think
Yeah.
of ourselves as further along than our primitive ancestors, who engaged in genocide, rape, and torture. But there have been
We're
more
still
people
doing that.
I
murdered
was
in the
about to say,
past
it's like-
120 years than any other time in our history. The two world wars gave humanity an up-close look at some of the most brutal acts humans have ever committed against their fellow humans. The Nazis rounded up Jews, homosexuals, gypsies, the handicapped, Polish, Ukrainians, and many other groups they deemed unworthy. They ripped children from their mothers, and they murdered children in front of their parents. They made their victims walk in horrible death marches, forced them into sweltering rail cars, and then made them travel for days without food or water. People would defecate, urinate, and puke all over each other in these rail cars, all to be taken to death camps where they were painfully exterminated with poisonous gas. Reports from guards.
What's up? Feel free to
What's
ask
up?
a question. We wait with bated breath, with great anticipation.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what thing to play with while I'm streaming. I got this flow ring.
You can tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man. No time
You
to
could
talk.
sing, yeah.
Music loud. Women warm. Been kicked around since I was born, and that's alright. That's okay. You may look the other way. You got to understand the New York Times effect on man. Whether you're a brother, whether you're a mother, you're staying alive, staying alive. Feel the city breaking and everybody that can. You're staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive. All right.
I don't know,
saved
like,
the whole first chorus.
yeah, like I don't know any good any really good
I know.
whatchamacallit, classics really. Like I know "Don't Stop Me Now"
I
by
got Hotel
Queen.
California.
Oh yeah,
I know. Yeah.
I'd have to look up the
Banger.
lyrics, but Danny California, I love Danny California by
Danny,
Red Hot,
California.
by Red Hot Chili
California.
Peppers.
Oh,
Yeah.
Californication?
No, there's Californication, but no, there's a separate song called Danny California, Dani. I really like it. I love the chorus in it. California, rest in peace. But yeah. But for the viewers, feel free to spend your points to get me to sing a part of a song, because that is one of the options.
Dog, I have so many points.
Oh,
Oh
no.
my god, I have
that's
like
true.
almost 6K,
you
dude.
could
Did you
make
see
me
my
sing a
quench
song.
one?
Yes, I did quench.
Oh, you better quench.
I even made a comment to it. I was like, you just want to make me piss some more.
Dog, actually, now that you mention it, I gotta go to the bathroom.
All right.
All right, what's up, Brett? What's your question?
Go use the bathroom, and I'll wait for you to come back to respond to his question if it comes up.
Yeah, I got you.
I might need to use the bathroom again. Shit. Been drinking
Yeah.
a bunch of liquids.
Yeah, go to the bathroom, and then I need to go to the bathroom.
Sure.
Bathroom breaks for all.
Mm-hmm. I have this thingy. Be right back. Yeah.
All right. Brett, you still here? I'm very curious on your question. Teach me something. Let me learn. Let your question go through my brain, change my thoughts. What's up? What question do you still have? Maybe we can break it down together. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. You posted the question? I don't see it. I see be well. May I ask you a question before I go? And then yep. I did not see the question. Maybe if I refresh the page. Give me 1 second. Yeah, no, yeah, no, I don't see a question. So feel free to post it again. Yeah, I don't know why it didn't show up anything. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, I got you. That's weird. It said top. Okay, I have to go to all messages are visible. My bad. Beep beep beep. Give me 1 second. All right. So if you believe people if of faith are mentally ill, do you think it's immoral to mock the disabled? If
Wait,
you believe
where did you post
that
this question?
people of faith are mentally ill, well, I actually don't think people of faith are mentally ill.
Hmm.
And I don't think it's okay to mock the disabled. So if I think we're in agreement, I don't think people of faith are mentally ill.
Mm-hmm.
If you're assuming that I thought that, you should normally ask instead of assume if that's what you were doing.
Where was this posted?
But it's on YouTube. It's Brett's question. If you believe people of faith are mentally ill, don't you think it's immoral to mock the disabled? I don't think people of faith are mentally ill. So I think we agree.
Posts.
Yeah, you have to go to live chat, not top chat. That's where we
Wait,
did
go
not
there.
go through. Yeah, I think people who think they evolved from rocks are nuts.
Who thinks anyone
Okay.
evolved from rocks?
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Are you referring to like biological life
Maybe I'm just old.
arising from non-biological? Is that what you're referring to?
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, you could do that face all you want. Um, and I just don't
Oh, live chat.
understand
Here we go.
the straw man. Uh, yeah, rocks. Is that a prevailing opinion? Like, I actually don't know if that's a prevailing opinion. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. Like, obviously, there's the case for abiogenesis, where uh, is the process of basically non-living components formed to create life, which we have most, if not all, the pieces for that. We're just currently trying to figure out how they fit together. But there's not a whole lot of funding towards it because there's no real practical reason for us to find out if we can do that. Where atheists say they come
So
from
yeah,
rocks. I've never heard that.
well, those atheists don't understand what abiogenesis is.
Yeah, like,
So abiogenesis, I don't know if you know this, but it's like a scientific theory that life likely emerged from like complex self-replicating molecules
mm-hmm,
forming in like very specific conditions.
mm-hmm,
And so no, not from rocks. Amino acid, nucleotides, lipids, and then different like energy gradients that like create these types of conditions where life can arise.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know.
We've
I don't
obviously
know.
we've been able to create the conditions to have the formation of some of these organic molecules. Which an organic molecule is just a molecule that has carbon in it. That's the scientific definition of organic. But what conditions and variables? I don't have studies on me at the moment,
Yeah, I
but
don't have the ability to accurately like accurately discuss this type of topic. I would have to do a little bit more research in order to
mhm.
like make these types of claims, but this is what I found. I can link you some. I don't know. You said you don't have Discord. But yeah. So yeah, I don't want to make specific claims. I could be
Mhm.
wrong on this sense, but this is what I found, source wise. Let me see if I can copy and paste on the YouTube.
Yeah, it might block you, but then I should be able to approve it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you could do your own research.
Or
You
maybe I
can
have you as a mod and it doesn't matter anyway.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, you could do the research yourself about abiogenesis. I don't know about these atheists who are saying rocks form life.
Yeah.
They are wrong.
I mean,
And
elements form life, and some of those elements can be rock or like minerals and
yeah,
stuff.
I don't know.
You should use StreamYard so you can easily invite people in. I was
Maybe.
recommended to use Stream Elements because it's robust, but it's also been a pain in the ass.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, really, all we're talking about right now is God not being all good.
Mm-hmm.
We're not really talking about the formation of life. I mean, that is an interesting topic that we might discuss in the future. But really, right now, we're just talking about whether or not God is evil. You know,
So
where did the elements come from? Ooh, so now we're getting into origin.
we should?
Um,
Well, so I would say either you just download Discord right quick and join us, or we can discuss it on your stream. I don't want to necessarily have a whole discussion with someone in the chat simply because, you know, the viewers watching may not actually see what you're saying and stuff like that.
I mean, the elements, I believe the elements come from like nuclear fusion inside stars, if I can remember correctly, like different types
More
of
or
like elements like hydrogen,
Stars generate
helium,
the
lithium.
Yeah, stars generate elements. Typically. Of course, attack religion.
Yeah,
Don't
so,
critically
I mean,
think
like,
about your own
yeah.
position. What? So there's two sides to this. Just because, like, all right, so you're claiming that that we don't critically think about our own position, but it's like that's not what we're talking about here. We're not necessarily talking about our position. We're talking about how, well, specifically in this stream, we're talking about how we believe God is evil. So it's an attack on that position, and people are allowed to come in and defend that position. So Stardust, more or less, in like a basic
It's
sense.
astrophysics, man.
Astrophysics, astrochemistry, astrobiology, all that.
The carbon in your DNA, the calcium in your bones, like even the iron in your blood, all forged in stars, dude. I just don't know what to tell you. You can do a little bit more scientific research. Don't come to a live stream debate talking about astrophysics and you want us to understand, like, explain it to you in specific detail. I would recommend talking to an astrophysicist, astrobiologist. They'll be able to help you understand.
Doesn't
And
matter. That does not disprove them. Yeah, where this argument's not meant to necessarily it's not necessarily meant to disprove there is a God. It's meant to show the contradiction of the Abrahamic God, and then that might consider him to
destroy
not
you in
exist.
science, bro.
I would destroy you in science, bro.
Maybe. I mean,
I
like,
don't know.
I don't have like specific like doctorates or anything
so-
around that. So like maybe.
So wait.
But like you're not talking to someone who has real information on that and
scientific
studied
background.
it. So why don't you talk to someone who is well versed in science?
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to see that debate between you and a scientist, an astrophysicist. I would love to see that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, so would I, really. But, like, at this point, you're just coming in and being aggressive, I guess, a little condescending in a way. So, like, effort, you know, I thought we were I thought we were being polite at the beginning of this discussion with you.
Oh, I mean, it grew dishonest when he said that atheists. Actually, no. Actually, it started being dishonest when he said, "If you believe people of faith are mentally ill," and I never said that.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing assumption. I'm having a sad. No, actually, it's more like a pity than sadness. But
I like this guy is funny.
Yeah, honestly, you're pretty entertaining. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. It would be nice if you could actually come up on the Discord if you're brave enough, but you know.
All right.
But apparently you don't have Discord, so it's kind of a moot
what it
point.
is.
Maybe we'll join your stream. Who knows? Stalin was atheist, killed 20 million. Yeah, Stalin was an awful person.
I'm not understanding your point to point.
And Hitler used Christianity
You're
to do
just
his
hip
dirty
hopping
work.
around, dude. This went from atheists calling people of faith mentally ill to rocks to Stardust to scientists to Stalin killing 20 million people. You are pivoting like crazy. So
anyway,
I don't know.
Let's just go back to the video at this point. He's just trying to rile us up.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I'm bored now.
I wouldn't say I'm bored, but it defeats the purpose of us actually having a stream where we can like verbally talk with someone, have a decent exchange.
Talk of people in the chambers climbing over each other to try to claw their way out. They knew everyone was dead when the screaming stopped. The Nazis also performed gruesome experiments on young children, where victims were put in a
Oh, actually, one thing, since he's talking about genocide, we could talk about the Amalekites if you want. But again, that would be if you want to come up or we go to your stream. And with the way you're acting, going to your stream does not seem like as good of an option anymore. So you just...
I think he just wants control.
Well,
I think that's why
he
he's
wants
not
some
coming up
control.
here.
He wants attention and stuff like that. So you asked for a debate and run. Very cool. I said, if you're willing to use Discord to come in, we will debate you. And I said I would potentially go onto your stream to debate you. I said we would rather not talk with someone when they're using a text chat and we're being the ones verbal, because it's not as entertaining for the viewers. You should know this as a streamer.
The decompression
Anyway.
chambers, drained of blood or sewn together. The worst part was, most of the young men who carried out these killings and tortures were average people from Germany drafted into the military. We have identified over 10,000 camps, ghettos,
Ought to bite
and
the muffin
brothels
fry.
the Nazis set up. Many of the so-called unfit were forced into slave labor for Volkswagen, BMW, Bayer, and many other companies. So it is not like the Germans did not know what was going on. The German population knew early on Hitler wanted to exterminate those he saw as unfit. And most did nothing when he started
Stetsky,
rounding
when they
people
can't
up.
lock in. True.
And worst of all, many joined in and helped him. Was this inhumane?
I mean, allegedly, like, a good amount of the population didn't know the specific atrocities. Like, they blamed the Jews, but I don't think they knew what was actually... Allegedly, they didn't know what was actually happening to them. So,
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if that's historically...
In Mein Kampf, there's a quote saying, "I am convinced that I'm acting as the agent of our Creator. By fighting off the Jews, I am doing the Lord's work." That's in Mein Kampf.
That's also true.
My feeling as a Christian points me to my Lord and Savior as a fighter. This was a speech done in 1922. He also persecuted atheists. He would ban secular organizations, and he was really chill with the Vatican Church. And he definitely used Christianity instrumentally.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I don't see your point anymore.
Yeah, so Hitler organized the Nazis under, National Socialism or Nationalist Socialism, but it was actually based off a previous thing that used, funny enough, pagan beliefs, but basically he rebranded it as Christian. So he if anything, he definitely used Christianity as a tool, and in Mein Kampf, there was probably a point where he was Christian. It is argued whether or not he was Christian during his tirade, I guess.
This was completely human.
But yes, he was with the Vatican.
Of course,
chill.
it is sadly obvious to any
What
student
Stotsky say. I don't think that the everyday people knew what was happening outside of the official narrative, which was like just shipping people off. The final solution wasn't really a thing until the last few years and mostly occurred outside of Germany. There you go.
I mean, a lot of the beginning of Hitler's reign was him just trying to get the Jewish people out of Germany. He even like it wasn't even a final solution until like a lot of different countries rejected his like call to be like, hey, I don't want these people, you guys can accept them. And a lot of like England or Great Britain and France, I'm not sure about Spain, but definitely the US, they didn't want to take in any of these people. And I think that's why they call it the final solution, is because he's like, all right, if you guys want to accept these people, all right, I'll do what I need to do.
Hitler was bad.
of history, Japan was probably far worse than Germany. Obvious
what?
to any completely human.
Oh, yeah. It's
Was this inhumane? This was completely
No.
human. Of course, it is sadly obvious to any student of history, Japan was probably far worse than Germany. The horrors they brought upon the Chinese people were thought to be unfathomable in a post-Enlightenment era. The Japanese army raped, tortured, and murdered more than 300,000 Chinese and committed some of the most gruesome acts known to man.
Compared to what, 6 million Jews?
People were lined up
Like, we're talking about quantity.
Here, pause.
Yeah.
Buddy, if he's saying that I don't know if this is the case, but it sounds like he's saying everything that humans do is
Human.
humane
Basically.
or human.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as being humane,
Humane, which is
or no,
wild.
inhumane. Sorry.
Yeah, inhumane. Which is kind of a wild claim. I mean, inhumane.
I mean,
Go ahead.
No, I'm just like if
Inhumane is basically an argument of what is separate from the typical status quo of being a human.
hold on. Let me look at the definition. I just want to make sure that I'm getting it right. Characterized by kindness, mercy, or compassion. That doesn't sound like kindness or mercy or compassion. But there's also one pertaining to man or human. So
I think
he's using a specific definition that is
it's like a prescriptive definition or a specific one, which it would be nice if I don't even think he said what the definition was.
I don't think so.
So kind of it's like, okay, well, we can
whatever.
assume what you mean, I
in
guess.
decapitation contests. Civilians were tied down and used for bayonet practice. Soldiers routinely would target women for gang rapes and torture, and more often than not, they targeted children. Many went beyond rape and disemboweled women, sliced off their breasts. They would hang men and women on hooks up by their tongues. Fathers were forced to rape their own daughters at gunpoint. People were buried alive, castrated, and roasted alive over fires. It was so bad that Nazi leaders, President Nanking, intervened to put a stop to it. The Japanese army was so bad,
that's pretty bad.
Nazis couldn't even handle it. Was this inhumane? This was completely human.
We need to know your definition
when
of
Russia
humane
marched
and
into
inhumane.
Berlin, they did many of the same things to German civilians. Starving women who came out of their homes to search for food were targeted for gang rape by Russian soldiers. Fathers were forced to watch their daughters raped and tortured, and were forced to pick which soldier got to go first. In the USSR, people were tortured and enslaved in concentration camps in Siberia. Populations like the Ukrainian.
And guess what? If God is all powerful, he could have stopped all of this.
True.
All right, keep going.
Yeah. It's like when atheists talk about the problem of evil, we talk about gratuitous suffering. There's a lot
and
of
this is quite gratuitous.
Yeah.
Were selected to be starved to death. Parents were murdered in front of their children, but then the children were left alive to starve to death, as to not waste any bullets on them. Was this inhumane? This was completely human. Okay,
He's
but
equating.
surely
He
these
just
examples
said
are
it's either humane or inhumane, or it's either humane or not humane, and then he says human.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. It's a little
He
weird.
could say inhuman, but not inhumane.
That's true, because those would be two different things, more or less.
Yeah.
dreams and the
Yeah, I
result
feel
of
like
citizens
he's
being brainwashed.
Yeah, he just has definitions that he's not sharing with the audience.
Yeah, he's just using it to make a point.
Yeah.
But all right,
By fascists
going.
and communists. It would be wonderful if that was all this was, but we see endless examples of these massacres throughout history. In Rwanda in 1994, people were tortured and raped, and over 800,000 were murdered. 1.2 million Armenians were murdered by the Young Turks from 1915 to 1923. Roughly 2 million were murdered in Cambodia between 1975 and 1979. In Guatemala, thousands of Mayan Indians were murdered. The Reconciliation Commission of South Africa found that there were over 36,000 cases of abductions, rape, tortures, and killings. I could go on, talking about the genocide committed against the Rohingya Muslims, the rape epidemic in the Congo and Haiti, ISIS, the Taliban, Saddam Hussein's Iraq, the French military in Algeria, the British Empire in Tasmania, and many other lands they conquered, and even the slavery of Africans in the Western world and the genocide committed against Native Americans. On every continent in every century, genocide...
Well, I'm pretty sure this guy isn't a Christian nationalist. If anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I wouldn't say... He doesn't seem like a Christian nationalist, because he's like, yeah, no, the colonizers did some really bad shit.
Rape and war has been committed by humans, because that is what humans do. And I've only stuck with recent examples. Our history is filled with countless more examples, and probably even more acts of
Surprised they haven't
genocide.
brought up the Soviets? They did. They mentioned the gulags and stuff.
Damn gulags.
that
Fuck
were
'em.
lost to time. Humans are murderous, selfish, evil creatures, and we have the audacity to call genocide inhumane. I would bet
It is
Dude, by
inhumane.
definition,
Like,
it is.
yeah. Again, it's like, bro, you haven't explained what your definition of humane or inhumane is, or
the hundreds of species
Well, like I get
we've
the
directly
inhumane
caused.
part, but I don't know, dude. It's him equating human and humane.
yeah,
That's what I'm having
Yeah,
an
where-
issue with right now.
they're colloquially known as different separate things. Also, thylacines, Tasmanian tigers. Would love for those to come back.
We're
to go
assholes.
extinct.
We're
Wish
ass-
we were
sure.
actually inhumane. And let's not pretend that we ourselves are somehow better than these other humans.
Pretend. I don't know. I think I'm better than Hitler. As far as I know.
That we would never commit such horrible acts. Most of the people who
People know that people commit horrible acts. The thing is, it's like it's typically a lot easier to commit a lot of bad than to commit a lot of good. So the bad's always going to be more obvious when it happens.
Mhm.
Like for example, with the Green brothers, Hank and John, they have their center in Sierra Leone that's been helping a lot of people. We don't really hear about it except from them. So it's helping tons of people. Like there is still a lot of, obviously there's a lot of horrible shit in the world, but there are also good things. So it's like, according to his logic, it's like I can compare myself to the people that are doing good as well, right? Yes, humans have the capacity for heinous shit, but we also have the capacity to do good shit. It's just a lot easier to do bad shit or get away with bad shit and stuff like that. Or it can be. It's at least cheaper, usually.
Maybe. I don't know.
ended up
I mean, for me, I think both requires a lot of energy.
They can.
But
Oh yeah,
one
they
is
can. They can.
Productive, one's not.
Yeah,
committing these terrible acts were terrifying.
one is positive for humanity.
They did it out of hate, fear, pride, or just to be accepted by superiors. Holocaust survivor and Professor Freddie Katz says, only a tiny proportion of this century's massive killings are attributable to the actions of those people we call criminals, or crazy people, or socially alienated people, or even people we identify as evil people. The vast majority of killings were carried out by plain folk in the population, ordinary people like you and me.
And
Yeah, one and like. So well, and now I'm wondering what Freddy Katz means by killing. Because there are different types of killing. There are things that some people consider killing and some people don't, or whatever. Yeah, as you said, it's like okay.
I Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like, how are you getting these statistics? Are you literally doing only murder? Or are you doing like, are you including self-defense?
Including abortion.
Oh my God,
So,
dude. Oh God, that's probably it.
it could be.
Katz reminds us it was ordinary people that carried out the plans of Hitler.
Which we would be killing the thing. Abortion will kill the thing inside. So technically, we kill them, but like, I just don't see any immorality behind it.
Stalin and Mao. It was ordinary people that sat by and let it happen, assuring themselves their own skins would be saved if they just followed orders. It was ordinary people that let political divides turn into vitriolic hatred for their opponents that eventually led them to think they must be killed first before they turn and kill us.
Wait, hold on.
That eventually led
Jesus will judge you, just like this man's judging someone with his fucking foot. It's like you're going against that. Going
them to
against
think
that.
they must be killed
explicitly.
first before they turn and kill
Crazy.
us. We forget that there were actually many Jews
No, I
that
don't know what was going on
administered the
there.
ghettos or manned the gas chambers out of fear for their own survival. Even now in this country, people who are on opposite sides of the political spectrum are spoken of as not even human or need to be murdered for the greater good. It doesn't take many more steps before we allow ourselves to slide into actions we cannot take back. People today are even talking as if a civil war is on the horizon. And yet we don't think massacres could happen today?
I mean, I doubt there would actually be a large-scale civil war of any sort. Because I think the government in general wouldn't want that. Even the administration we have now probably wouldn't want that. I hope.
I don't know, dude. I'm still trying to wait for his point.
Mm-hmm.
Given the history of our species, I am highly skeptical things could not get out of control, as they so often have in the past.
No, I mean, they can.
Psychologist Israel Charney says, sometimes sitting in a staff meeting of a modern psychiatric hospital, I could see how it all could happen. The ingredients were all there. The bitter, hating factions among the staff disguising themselves in the pomp and circumstances of a mental health conference. The barely disguised superiority and disdain for the hapless patient. The patronizing professional sympathy and righteousness that barely concealed the brutality of the so-called modern therapies of electric shock and brain surgery. The dehumanizing everyday herding of anonymous patients into anonymous routines.
When was this written? How can we commit the unthinkable?
I'm just waiting for him to get to his point. Like, yes, humans can be very evil. Okay? How does this have to do with the problem of evil with God?
Also true. He's just giving tons of
Like,
examples of evil.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
like,
like, we
that's,
get
that's
it.
fine.
Move
Like,
on.
I understand.
But obviously, it
Yeah.
has to generate interest and emotions for viewership, which
I mean,
totally
yeah, I guess
understandable.
that's
I
like
get
a
it.
humongous intro.
Let's see. The book came out in 1982. Things in the healthcare industry have gone up in quality over time. But I mean, honestly, if you work anywhere that deals with people, you can just kind of like let your eyes glaze over at some point to a lot of stuff. It's unfortunate, but it does happen in pretty much every health profession, stuff like that. Like, for example, a lot of doctors, especially in like ERs, ICUs, like, death is still bad for them. They still don't like it, but like they become way more cut off from it. Or for like EMTs and ambulances, like obviously they're professional, right? That's what we care about. They're professional and they do what they can. They do their job and they do it well. I don't really care if they like cry after someone dies. In fact, maybe I would prefer them not to, because then they might not be able to handle the job that well.
Maybe.
Anyway.
Everywhere, in lovely families that persecuted one or more of their members, in the universities I loved, where faculty, intrigues, and hatred knew no bounds, and the pompous coldness of exalted physicians turning away from the death fears of their patients.
Again, healthcare practices today have become much more warm to people. Like,
I think so, yeah.
yeah, because it's obviously proven that having personable interaction with patients and stuff does result in better health outcomes. That's one
Yeah, it's
reason.
probably
It's
like
like
a
everyone's like, oh,
psychological
all
thing.
doctors will be like AI and shit. It's like, no, they won't. AI might be able to help doctors, but I don't think they'll necessarily take over unless it's for like very minor things. But
Perhaps, yeah.
even then, there's a lot of nuance to being a doctor. It's not just diagnosis.
Almost every researcher that has looked into genocide concludes that genocide is carried out by the average person, not by supervillains or dark lords. Whether we want to lie to ourselves or not, there is potential in us all to commit genocide and all sorts of other selfish.
I don't think that's true. Really?
If he's saying that we have the capability, sure, but that doesn't just because we have the capability doesn't mean we want to do it.
We have like the potential to do it, but it doesn't mean. But does he also mean that that some of us are that most of us are willing to do it? Is what I'm wondering. Like,
Not by
obviously,
Yeah, I think-
physically, just rile up enough people and shit like that. But I have no desire to do that. That'd be fucked up.
Yeah, I want to kill as many people as I want to. Zero.
Zero.
Dark
Sure.
lords. Whether we want to lie to ourselves or not, there is potential in us all to commit genocide and all sorts of other selfish, evil acts. Langdon
I
Gilkey
think I know what he's
believed humans were
getting at
naturally
now.
good
Free
until
will.
he was placed in an internment camp by
Which I thought we already went over.
the Japanese.
Yeah.
He said, "Nothing indicates so clearly the fixed belief in the innate goodness of humans as does this confidence that when the chips are down and we are revealed for what we really are, we will all be good to each other. Nothing could be so totally in error." We forget that we have most of our needs met in the Western world, that most people who have lived on this earth did not have access to. We've not had to face the hardships of the past, like tribal warfare, with the kill or be kill mentality, because we are blessed with such excess. So we are lucky our primal natures are not so evident. If you had to fight for your survival under a brutal regime or in an ancient setting, you may very well be surprised at what you were capable of. The reality is our depraved nature is not something thrust upon us. It is very much a part of us and our ancestry. The murder rate in prehistoric times was much higher than we expected. When there was no law or fear of punishment, people often did what they had to do to survive, or simply just did what they wanted. In fact, a recent paper suggested, due to high murder rates, the human population bottlenecked roughly between 5,000 and 7,000 years ago,
I'd have to
with
look at
only
that study.
one man for every 17 women. The idea modern societies have simply corrupted us is not backed by data.
It depends what you consider corrupted. Humans have always been,
I'm still trying to find out his point.
yeah, like,
Studies also
Like,
back
cool.
this
Like,
up.
we have a history of evil
Stanley
shit,
Milgram
but like,
conducted
what does
the
this
first
have to
Milgram
do with the
experiments.
problem of evil?
where a
Yeah.
subject would be brought in under the assumption that he was there to be one of two participants in a learning experiment. They were instructed to ask a person in another room a series of questions.
it's been going on for about 15
Unbeknownst, they were
minutes.
actually a paid actor.
Yes, I
If
know
the other
about this
person answered
experiment, too.
wrong, they would have to give them an electrical shock, as ordered by the scientists. Each shock would increase in the amount of pain it caused. The actor would cry from the other room they were having heart problems, but the scientist performing the experiments would tell the subject he had to keep going, regardless of the pain they were causing the person in the other room. The
Yo,
results
hold up,
shockingly
pause.
Mhm.
You know what's funny is he's kind of proving a point about the genocide of the Amalekites.
Hmm.
God is the
Oh, yeah.
experimenter.
Mm-hmm.
The Israelites are the subject. and the actors are the
Amalekites.
Yeah, exactly.
Except they
dude.
weren't acting. They just got
literally
killed.
he's
I like it.
literally proving my point.
True.
Demonstrated that 65% of subjects administered all the shocks as instructed, including one that was perpetrated to give a lethal shock. Other researchers replicated these results with even higher percentages, with subjects administering all the shocks. In 1970 in West Germany, 85% administered all shocks. In 2017 in Poland, 90% of participants also administered all the shocks. The data shows it is not hard for the average person to do horrible things.
Well,
Pause.
but not like on their own accord usually.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, why did God create a brain where our psychological state could be influenced by like another person so easily?
Mm-hmm. Where's my free will?
Yeah, I mean, dude, we are so easily influenced by other things,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and other things can make us do horrible, horrible things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, why does our psychological state are able to be influenced by random people so easily?
I know there's so many questions to be had. I don't know. I'm tired.
Atheist Michael Roos says, I think Christianity is spot on about original sin. How could one think otherwise when the world's most civilized and advanced people, the people of Beethoven, Goethe, Kant, embraced that slimeball Hitler and participated in the Holocaust?
Wait, what? I think Christianity is spot on about original sin. How could one think otherwise when the world's most civilized and advanced people, the people of Beethoven, Goethe, Kant, embraced that slimeball Hitler and participated in the Holocaust? What? Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. It's like, I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, you're a product of your environment. Hitler, unfortunately, was very charismatic.
Mm.
So he was really good at influencing people and making them not care about what they were doing, basically. Or like, it's like care for the benefit of science. The Jews aren't actual people. That you can't harm them, or it's like harming a chicken or something. Those are like some examples of people saying so. It's like Jews were not seen as human, basically.
Exactly.
So
I'm sure like these people who did so many fucked up things, they didn't consider what they don't like doing fucked up things, but what they considered
what they considered fucked up was different
from what other people consider evil.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure they thought they were doing good,
and maybe a few of them were just kind of unempathetic and might have had psychopathy or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and they got fucking medals for it.
True.
Huh.
And then some of them got hired by the US to help with our rocket program.
Yum.
But surely there has to be some good people out there who do not deserve the lives they've been given. Clay Jones asked a very simple question.
Love
in his book.
Jesus.
Do gang members stop at red lights? Yes, but not because they respect that particular law. It is out of self-interest. No one wants to get sidelined by oncoming traffic. Most people do not rob banks.
Sure, yeah, they realize that them following the fucking signals is a benefit to society. Yeah, it's also within you're making the claim that it's only self interest. It's like, no, it's just they probably don't even think about it. First of all, they're probably like, okay, yeah, traffic lights. They probably realize the usefulness of having traffic lights.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like, literally everything is within self-interest. Like, even believing in God is self-interest. Like, I don't want to go to hell.
Yeah, like, for example.
Like, what? Yeah, what?
Banks because they don't want to go to jail. Most people do not cheat on their spouse because they don't want to destroy a marriage they may like, ruin their reputation, or lose relationships they derive meaning from. It's hard to deny that much of what motivates us is self-interest. When people do decide to go ahead with these terrible acts, it is because they think they have clever ways out of them, or think the act will benefit them more than what they could lose. The sad reality...
I mean, he might be arguing the fact that it's like, oh, like charities and, what is it, misanthropy? Was it misanthropy? Wait.
Philanthropy?
Philanthropy. I was like, it's not misanthropy. Yeah, philanthropists are just all doing it out of self-interest because it makes them feel good. Like,
I mean, maybe.
okay,
I don't know.
who cares?
Yeah, I'm just
It's like it's nice. It's nice that it makes them feel good.
Point.
Yeah.
The reality is, we are all motivated by our own self-interests. In light of human nature, even acts of heroism and sacrifice can be motivated by self-interest. Ernest Becker, who openly rejects Christianity, says, "Everything painful and sobering in what psychoanalytical genius and religious genius had discovered about man revolves around the terror of admitting what one is doing to earn his self-esteem. This is why human heroics is a blind drivenness that burns people up. In passionate people, a screaming for glory as uncritical and reflexive as the howling of a dog. In the more passive masses of mediocre men, it is disguised as they humbly and complainingly follow out the roles that society has provided for their heroics. Man will lay down his life for his country, his society, his family. He will choose to throw himself on a grenade to save his comrades. He is capable of the highest generosity and self-sacrifice. But he has to feel and believe that what he is doing is truly heroic, timeless, and supremely meaningful. The hard truth no one wants to accept is there is no one good. None are righteous, no one. No one understands, no one seeks for God."
Wait,
No, like realistically, this is not how society works. Right? Like I agree. You can totally argue that everything is done in self-interest, but
I don't know how that
this-
takes meaning away from goodness.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like you have to. Oh, I had something, but it's gone. But yeah,
My bad.
No, you're good. Oh well.
All have turned aside. Together, they have become worthless. No one does good, not even one.
Well, that's just dumb.
There are many
Well,
that
so
wish
that-
to whitewash.
So everything we do is bad? Because if
Apparently,
well,
if it's all in self-interest,
not
then
good?
it's bad. Or not? Yeah, I guess so. But remember, if you, I'm not going to assume. We'll see where he's getting at eventually. Hopefully.
Sure.
Jesus and just reduce him to a good moral teacher that offered some good advice and lessons. But Jesus never paints humanity as something inherently good that just needs a little guidance, but instead as sinners that desperately need to repent lest we too perish. If Christianity is true and needs to answer for why bad things happen to people, the answer we offer is this: there are no good people for bad things to happen to. D.A.
Oh, I hate this.
there are no good people for bad things to happen to. Bad things to happen to. Hold on, I need to think that one through.
There are no good people for bad things to happen to. It sounds like it's like, oh, then genocide is okay because no one is good. Therefore, if you kill them, nothing bad happens.
There are no good.
I'm sure it's going to go deeper than that. But that's just fucking wild.
All right, you can keep going. I'm going to think about that one.
Carson says, first, Jesus does not assume that those who suffered under Pilate, or those who were killed in the collapse of the tower, did not deserve their fate.
Does not assume that those who suffered under did not deserve their fate. So he assumes that they did?
Indeed, the fact that he can tell those contemporaries that unless they repent, they too will perish shows that Jesus assumes that all death is in one way or another the result of sin, and therefore deserved.
Hmm.
Wild, but okay.
Gosh.
I mean, there was someone in one of the servers that said a sinner going to hell is morally good. So,
I mean, shit, they're dead. What can they do?
yeah. Or it's like metaphysically, it's just pure moral goodness that a sinner goes to hell. I was like, well,
Second, Jesus does insist that death, by such means, is no evidence whatsoever that those who suffer in this way are any more wicked than those who escape such a fate.
Second, Jesus does not insist that death by such means is no evidence whatsoever that those who suffer in this way are any more wicked than those. Okay.
The assumption seems to be that all deserve to die. If some die under a barbarous governor and others in a tragic accident, it is not more than they deserve. But that does not mean that others deserve any less. Rather, the implication is that it is only God's mercy that has kept them alive. Third, Jesus treats...
It's
Oh,
also
wait a minute.
It's also
So he does interfere? Hold up.
Well,
Wait, can
technically,
you
he-
rewind that?
Yeah.
Rather, the implication. Hold up.
than those who escape such a fate. The assumption seems to be that all deserve to die. If some die under a barbarous governor and others in a tragic accident, it is not more than they deserve. But that does not mean that others deserve any less. Rather, the implication is that it is only God's mercy that has kept them alive.
Only God's mercy.
Yes,
So it seems like he's saying that God could strike them down at any time, but he's using mercy to keep them alive. I might be.
that it's very much an abusive relationship.
Yeah, dog. He's like, all right. I don't know. He's like, I'm gonna grant you this under certain criteria.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Yeah, this is
That's-
kind of breaking my brain right now.
Yeah. It's
I'm
like,
just waiting for him to get to a point.
Third,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus treats wars and natural disasters not as agenda items in a discussion of the mysterious ways of God, but as incentives to repentance.
So basically, fucked up shit's gonna happen. You're eventually gonna die. So love Jesus, just in case.
Just in fucking case, I guess.
Just in
And as
case.
if he is saying
There are
that God
I've seen some Christians that they're like, I'm a Christian just in case, basically.
uses disaster as a
the
megaphone to
Pascal's
call
wager.
attention to our guilt and destination, to the imminence of his righteous judgment if he sees no repentance. This is an argument developed at great length in Amos 4. Disaster is a call to repentance. Jesus might have added, as he does elsewhere, that peace and tranquility, which we do not deserve, show us God's goodness and forbearance.
And let me guess, we don't deserve it because Adam ruined everything.
It is a mark of our lostness that we invert these two.
I'm not
We think
I'm
we
not
deserve
fucking
the times
Adam.
of blessing and
I'm
prosperity.
not Adam. Why am I
and
getting
think the
punished for
times
all
of
this?
war and disaster are not only unfair, but come perilously close to calling into question God's goodness or his power.
We think we deserve the times of blessing and prosperity, and that the times of war and disaster are not only unfair, but come perilously close to calling into question God's goodness or his power. Perilously close? No, it does call into question. Nothing this guy said so far works.
Even perhaps his very
Again, he hasn't even
existence.
gotten to the point, it seems.
Jesus simply did not see it that way.
You
Now,
just
I've
need a
hammered
different
this point for
perspective.
quite a while, because one of the worst lies we tell ourselves is we really are good and do not deserve the world we have created. But nothing could be further from the truth. God's judgment or absence in rescuing us from this world seems barbaric, only to the person that has not understood the depths of human psychology. But if we can take some time
Who
to
created
reflect on the
human
state
psychology again?
Sure.
of humanity, as C.S. Lewis puts
In
it,
his image.
God's wrath seems to be inevitable, a mere corollary from God's goodness. Miroslav Volf once questioned the wrath of God, but when he saw 200,000 people killed in Yugoslavia, he said, "My people were shelled day in and day out, some of them brutalized beyond imagination, and I could not imagine God not being angry. Though I used to complain about the indecency of the idea of God's wrath, I came to think I would have to rebel against a God who wasn't wrathful at the sight of the world's evil. God isn't wrathful in spite of being love. God is wrathful because God is love."
My people were shelled day in, day out, and some of them brutalized beyond measure. I could not imagine God not being angry. So he's assuming God will be angry about this, sure. He just complained about the indecency of the idea of God's wrath. Well, okay, so, like, who in this case was the victim of God's wrath? It was the 200,000 people that you saw were killed. They were arguably the victims of God's wrath. The wrath that came from those on the other side, which honestly they were probably mostly indifferent. If it was artillery, they probably didn't see anyone that they killed, so they could probably disconnect themselves from it to a degree. But yeah, I would say the people who received the shelling were the ones that got hit by God's wrath. God's wrath doesn't have to he doesn't just have to be angry at the other side for doing the thing he knew they were going to do, first of all. But he still allowed that wrath of the artillerymen to stomp out the lives. God, basically, God's okay with all of this.
Yeah,
He can be angry about it,
God's
but it's
wrath
his
is
fault.
Love.
Kind of. But
I mean, honestly, if God's wrath is love, then what isn't love?
true.
Makes love pretty much really.
Remember, if I beat my child, it's out of love.
Yeah, seriously, torture. Yeah, out of love.
I'm doing this for your own good and the good of others.
Yeah, any violent act becomes a virtue.
I mean,
as long as God does it.
Yeah, as long as you have good intention behind it, whatever that good intention might be.
Now I need to be clear that myself or any of the authors I've quoted are not saying every horrible thing that happens to a person should be seen as a direct punishment from God for their sin.
How do you know that?
No one is suggesting that.
Yeah, I don't think any. I think they were explicitly stating they weren't suggesting that. So I don't know why you have to say this part. It seemed kind of obvious that they were saying the opposite of this, right? Because he was.
All right, I forgot. I need to go to the bathroom because that fucking asshole Brett Keane distracted me with his fucking 20,000 arguments that had no relation to our topic. Give me 1 second.
Yep, I'll be right back as well. BRB, guys.
All right, I am back, my friends. Whoever is still watching, we appreciate you being here. If anybody's watching, we love you. Yeah, honestly, I'm still trying to find out what the fuck he's on about. I mean, uh, yeah, basically, if wrath is love, then abuse is discipline, and torture is basically, in a way, a protection.
I'm drinking so
Pretty
much shit.
sociopathic.
Wait, what's going on?
Oh, I was saying, if wrath is love, then basically abuse is just discipline, and then like
Mm.
torture is a form of protection, and that's pretty
Well,
sociopathic.
to be fair, obviously people committed torture for fun, so
Yeah.
so doesn't always have to be love.
The point is simply to critique the notion that bad
Oh wait, it is for the love of my own self-interest that I torture this person. It's love.
Hell yeah,
It's
dog.
ultimately love.
things happen to good people. Bad things happen to bad people. And this is so because this is the world the human species choose. Things happen. The point is simply to critique the notion that bad things happen to good people. Bad things happen to bad people. And this is so because this is the world the human species chooses to live in every day. As R.C. Sproul once said, why do bad things happen to good people? Well, that only happened once, and he volunteered. The truth of the matter is, no one has...
I thought it was you.
You thought
Wasn't
it was
it? Wasn't it? Wasn't it Eve that took the bite of the apple first?
I think so.
So.
Oh, I thought it was
see.
talking about Jesus.
I thought he was talking about Adam,
Oh, maybe.
because he was saying that he was talking about choice, and I think he's
Yeah.
referring to Adam
Adam.
eating the tree. Fucking knowledge.
Adam eating the whole tree. Imagine if Adam ate the whole tree and left the apple.
Dog, that's so funny.
That would be so funny.
He just ate the leaves.
This is just
Wait,
fucking
would he have
herbivore.
gained the knowledge if he just ate like the bark or something?
I don't know, but bark and leaves don't seem as appetizing as the apple.
No, they don't, but I'm just curious if he had eaten the bark or the leaves,
What
would
happen?
would it still count?
Would it impart knowledge, or would it? I imagine it wouldn't count because it was pretty explicitly the apple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we
He only
can't
gained some
confirm any of
knowledge.
this, obviously. It's limited knowledge.
Like how to play Minecraft, how to craft a crafting table.
A golden apple, enchanted golden apple.
died before the age of accountability that is not guilty. Every person is invested in self-interest and contributes to evil one way or another. In light of all this, the real question we should be asking is not why does a good God allow so much evil, but why does a good God not just wipe us out for the good of the universe?
He's done that.
I was about to say he tried. Well, he gave a hard reset
He did.
with the flood.
And included the animals in that reset.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Very
actually
sad.
curious on what inspiring philosophy thinks about whether or not animals have moral capability. I would think he would say no.
He would probably
And then
say no.
if that's the case, then it would be immoral to well, I'm trying to think.
I mean, the animals
They don't
still
have moral capability.
They might not have moral capability, but we know they can suffer. So,
Yeah.
basically, what's the point of causing gratuitous suffering to wildlife or any other animal that's not human? What's the point, basically?
The answer to why there is so much evil is simple. There are so many humans. Every day, we choose to contribute to the evil in the world by simply going about our day, doing
We don't have free will, though.
nothing, and focusing on ourselves.
At least, not in
To
Christianity.
put this into perspective with numbers, The UN estimates it would cost roughly $30 billion a year to end world hunger. And Americans alone wasted $116 billion in gambling in 2016.
That tracks.
God has already given us everything we need to turn this world into Eden, and we simply delay it.
Why did God create our brain in a way where dopamine is produced via gambling
True.
and making it easier to be addicted?
True. I mean, he's gonna say it's like we have the capability to turn it all around by loving.
We don't have the
Jesus.
ability to not do dopamine. Not like
Yeah, true.
like
Well, actually,
dopamine is like
actually people
literally
with depression.
part of it. Oh, true.
Whether you want to admit it or not, every one of us contributes to the evil in the world, mostly through focusing on ourselves and doing nothing to help. We have everything we need to end things like world hunger and human trafficking, and instead, we spend our money on pointless things just to make ourselves happy. Because if the problem is not right in our face, we pretend it doesn't exist.
That's pretty true.
Simply put, evil exists because we exist.
Damn, sounds like God shouldn't have let us exist.
Evil exists because we exist. I mean,
Because
I
we-
kind of agree with that because there's
Sure,
no,
yeah.
there needs to be a perceived, there needs to be a perception of evil for evil
Mhm.
to exist,
Yeah.
or at
I'm-
least someone to define evil.
I mean, we don't know how animals might see good and bad. So,
I think they would. I think they would equate it to whether or not it harms them or not.
basically, yeah. Or supports their young as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's extension of lineage. I don't
Unless you're
When
like
this has been
fucking
pointed
crab or
The
something.
next question
Crab.
is, why did
know. Crabs are only good, and they're also only tasty.
Well, no, I think aren't they like one? Hold on. I think crabs eat their young. Hold on.
No, there's a lot of species that eat their young. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, some crabs do eat their young, especially when they're hungry. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
It's
Tracks.
they probably are like, well, if I'm still alive, I can just make another batch, or they just eat a few of them.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so
Gotta make So, good job, God, for
crabs are
making that a thing.
hedonists.
Yeah, dude.
God create us this way?
What, yeah,
Why are we
okay.
so easily prone to commit horrible acts? Well, that is assuming
Yup.
God did make us evil. One can argue he did not. He made us free, and to be truly free means we have to be allowed to choose how we want to be.
But he knows how we're gonna be, regardless, because he knows what's gonna happen. He knows our fate. He knows how we're gonna act. So he knows So he knew there was gonna be evil because of us. Therefore, why create us?
Yeah, I mean, like he inadvertently created evil.
If anything, yeah.
Yeah, and he already knew it was
Well,
gonna happen.
He
So
he knew evil was
like-
gonna exist. So he
I mean,
allowed
yeah,
he allowed for
definitely.
evil. Simple.
if I knew that, let's say, trying to think, if I dropped this pencil right now,
Hmm.
and I knew it was gonna cause a nuclear war, I wouldn't drop the fucking pencil.
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, that's crazy to think about, but
If Adam knew or Eve knew the consequences of eating the apple, they might not have done it.
actually, yeah, good point. Yeah, actually, that's a really good point.
'Cause-
That if God said, "Hey guys, like if you eat the apple, it's not just that you will die, but
Mhm.
every single like in the future you're gonna procreate, and if you eat this apple, everyone else is fucked."
Yep.
And I feel like that's a good motivator not to eat the fucking apple.
Yeah. God was experimenting. He just wanted to see what they would choose.
They don't even have a concept of death. So when he says
Yeah.
you're gonna die,
Yeah.
I don't think
wait,
they
what do we-
even can comprehend what that means.
Probably not. Yeah. Probably not. Did Adam and Eve go to heaven or hell?
That is a really good question. And there's not
that
even
ever
like a
determined?
heaven or a hell. Hold on. I wonder when that. Hold on.
Yeah. It's like, what's the chronological time scale? What is the time scale of this? Da, 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 da. It doesn't explicitly state whether Adam and Eve went to hell after their disobedience. Well, most Christian scholars believe they are in heaven, but it's not definitive. Great, thanks.
The dwelling place of God. Heaven is just the dwelling place of God. It was not a promised afterlife destination. Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. So the Jewish faith have a completely different belief about heaven and hell, because hell doesn't
Yeah.
even appear in the Old Testament.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
nor does Satan, really. Or
I
Lucifer.
mean, yes, he is referenced in Job, but not
Yeah.
in, like, I don't know.
Well, there's
It's not in the Torah. Isn't that the Torah, like the first, like, whatever books?
I think the Torah is the whole Old Testament, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know. That was fucking. But yeah, the New Testament.
Is not
Very
just the
explicit
Torah.
math.
Let's
Huh?
see. Okay, the Torah, also known as the Pentateuch, comprises the first 5 books of the Hebrew
books, yeah.
Bible, which Christians refer to as the Old Testament,
Ah.
or the Hebrew Bible, Tanakh. It includes all 24 books traditionally recognized by Judaism. Interesting. Okay, Old Testament Christians refer to the Tanakh as the Old Testament. So it's just the Hebrew Tanakh, which is the entire Hebrew Bible, which is composed of the Torah, the first 5 books, the Nevi'im, the prophets, and the Ketuvim, the writings.
Yeah, it's interesting that God didn't reveal heaven and hell specifically until, like, the New Testament, and I found that very telling. Like, it sounds like you just made this shit up.
No, pretty much. Let's see. And Lucifer didn't exist in the early translations of the Bible. Lucifer was just a reference to, I forgot what king it was, but a mortal king that was going against God.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah. So Lucifer doesn't actually exist.
No, it's just kind of like a symbol,
Yeah.
I guess.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Lucifer was just a reference to the king. The king that was the light bringer that went against God or something.
C.S. Lewis says, "The moment you have a self at all, there is the possibility of putting yourself first, wanting to be the center, wanting to be God. In fact, that was the sin of Satan, and that was the sin he taught to the human race. It is not as if we were simply made to be this way.
Hold on. Let me...
Ourselves to choose how we want to be."
Did you say whoa, hold up. Did you say Satan taught us this?
Yeah, well, Satan was the snake, right?
That's what some people believe. Hold on.
I thought the snake was explicitly Satan.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't interpreted as Satan till, like, way later. Hold on. Let me do the research on this. Give me 1 second.
Oh, so the Bible doesn't explicitly state this. The connection is drawn from other parts of the Bible where Satan is referred to as the ancient serpent or the great dragon. Oh.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, so basically they were like, oh, this is weird. Let me give some specificity to it. That way it's more understandable.
And it's like, and if Satan existed, God must have created hell before Adam and Eve.
Yeah. So he already knew he was going to send people to hell.
Yeah. Well.
C.S. Lewis says, "The moment you have a self at all,
C.S.
there
Lewis.
is the possibility of putting yourself first."
You don't like C.S. Lewis?
No, it's just every
Yeah.
fucking Christian brings up C.S. Lewis, and I'm like, oh
This is
my
like
God.
the second or third time he's brought him up in this video.
Dude, just fucking talk about Aslan, and we're good.
wanting to be the center, wanting to be God. In fact, that was the sin of Satan, and that was the sin he taught to the human race.
So apparent, but God created Satan. So, that was the sin of Satan. Did Satan want to be God? I thought Satan was just pissed that God loved us more. I don't remember.
I actually don't know either. Hold on. This
Why
is
did
way too much
Satan
research.
rebel against God? I mean, Satan rebelled against God due to pride and a desire for power, ultimately leading to his transformation into the adversary of mankind. Okay, he sought to elevate himself to a position equal to or above God's, rejecting God's authority and the existing hierarchy in heaven.
Honestly, he's actually God just gave him like a bigger role in the universe by letting Satan influence his creation. So if anything, bro, he gave him kind of like a promotion. Cause now he has like all these fucking powers and shit.
Well, like I don't know if being Satan is meant to be pleasurable. I'm
Well, it's not
assuming
even
there's some
pleasurable.
sort of infinite suffering somehow, because Satan is, well, so Satan's supposed to be unable to feel God's light, but he, talks to God on the regular, so whatever.
But I don't know, dude. If it's basically like giving a whatchamacallit, like an understudy, the fucking main cast, become a main cast member.
Hold on. Pride and ambition. Satan, initially Lucifer, who only exists as a mortal king, a high-ranking angel, became consumed by pride and ambition. He desired to be exalted above all other angels and even to be like God himself. Is it possible for an angel to be like God? Because apparently angels thought it was possible.
But I don't know, dude. I'm trying to wrap my head around. I've always wondered why God created both angels and humans.
Yeah, true.
Did he fuck up twice?
And then he's like, I like the humans more.
Even though I want to send them to hell.
Let's see. The
Well,
rebellion
not
led...
necessarily want, but I'm going to send them to hell.
This rebellion led to a spiritual conflict known as the War in Heaven, where Satan and a significant number of other angels fought against God and his loyal angels. Oh, refusal to submit. Satan refused to bow to God's will or to accept the position God had assigned him.
Dude, honestly, this would have been really good information.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, like, there's just so much information that's found in the New Testament that, like, logically should be, like, early canon. You know what I mean?
It should have been a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
why did all this not happen until... I don't know.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, dude, that type of information seems, like, really fucking important to the fall of man. Because, like, if the serpent was Satan, then all of the necessary pre-context to him being there needs to be laid out. So we have a better understanding. Or just God just wants us to, I don't know, dude. It just doesn't make any coherent sense why he would wait thousands of years to be like, yo, so this is what actually happened.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because it doesn't happen until Revelation 12, 7 through 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then when were the angels created? When did God create hell? I'm assuming heaven almost always exists before hell. Bible doesn't explicitly state when hell was created, but it indicates that it was prepared for the devil and his angels. So it might have happened during Satan's uprising, Lucifer's uprising. Some interpretations suggest it was created within the first 6 days of creation alongside other aspects of the universe, while others propose it was created after the fall of Lucifer and his angels. So hell didn't always exist either way, for sure. Depends.
Dude, yeah, the angels have always puzzled me because there is no, like, I feel like angels play like a pivotal role within
Yeah, we don't hear enough about angels.
What's that?
I feel like we don't hear enough about the angels at this point.
Yeah,
we
seriously,
know
like
about some
they
of them.
play such a pivotal role. Like Angel Gabriel, like
Mhm.
I think he was the one that went down to Mary and say, "Yo, dog, God's gonna impregnate you."
Good luck. Have fun.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, get ready for that pain, childbirth pain. That
Get ready to be Zeused.
oh God.
Also, hello, Jack Devani, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
But-
Most scientists are actually atheists. In modern day, yes. A long time ago, they weren't really allowed to be.
Yeah.
But science and Christianity specifically can coexist, but it's going to be probably a bit more difficult for them.
Yeah,
Like-
I just
Even Neil
Go
deGrasse
ahead.
Tyson was like, yeah, no, you can be scientist and Christian, but it probably depends on what type of Christian you are, is my guess. Well, there's a theological position that Mary didn't have birthing pain. You know
Oh my
what?
God.
It'd be great if God could do that for the rest of the pregnant individuals on the planet.
he's like, all right, I'm gonna forcefully impregnate you.
I just thought of something kind of
in-
gross.
It is so. All right, so the reciprocity I'll give you is that the forced pregnancy won't be painful. That's what I'll give you, Mary. But that's
I
an
think it'll be
interesting
fine.
theological position. Yeah, I mean, literally, that is the least God can do. Literally, the least God can
True.
do. I mean, fuck, ask for consent.
I'm just imagining when she was giving birth, God just like, oh, that pussy needs to be wider for this, so it's not as uncomfortable.
Oh wow, the Catholic position is that Mary was born without original sin.
Wait,
That's
what?
the case. Why not just do that for everyone? Holy
Wait,
shit, Jack!
no.
you're on
No,
I didn't know that.
I thought Jesus was the only, quote unquote, human without sin. I don't think she was born without original sin, right? Immaculate conception, yeah, sure. Yes, Catholic theology states that Mary, the mother of Jesus, was conceived without original sin.
Oh, they
So a lot of
fucking love
Christians,
Mary.
so a lot of Christians are just wrong. Jesus isn't the only one. Not that I guess that makes that much of a difference, to be honest, but still.
That's interesting.
Nope, she had to be a pure, sinless vessel. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
interesting.
It makes sense. It makes sense, Jack. Like, I get it. But it's like, oh, well, and she was a normal human. Well, I guess she's not if she was born without original sin, so I don't get it.
She wasn't one of them normies. She ain't like us.
She ain't one of us. She's part of the 0.0000001% or something. Otherwise, Jesus would have been born without original sin. Wouldn't have been
Wait.
born without original sin?
You with or without?
Yeah. So, but obviously,
I don't
if
know,
humans just can be born without original sin.
Yeah, it's possible. But I mean, couldn't have God create? I don't know. If God was able to give, like, literally impregnate Mary, I don't know if he's like all powerful. I would assume that someone could birth
Meant would it?
someone who doesn't have original sin but still be a sinner. I don't know. That's an interesting.
If you're born with, I think if you're born without original sin, then you basically don't have the ability to commit sin, which I think is functionally impossible, obviously, but you know, which is kind of the argument of original sin. It's like, is it possible not to sin? But apparently, Mary was Fuck it.
She walked. But like, dude, we hear like nothing from Mary after she's like introduced.
It's all she's good for. She's just a
Oh my
vessel.
god. Yeah, like, dude, she's barely mentioned. I think I haven't read like a much of the New Testament, but I think she like falls off.
So the Bible does not say that Mary was anything other than an ordinary human. But... yeah, it just says very little about Mary. Because this means she was spared the stain of original sin and was thus considered entirely pure from the moment of her conception. This belief is based on the understanding that Mary was uniquely chosen by God to be the mother of Jesus and needed to be completely free from sin to fulfill this role. So yeah, she was allegedly a normal human that was just chosen by God because she was born without sin.
Oh, interesting. Some Catholics
Yeah, she's
think
mostly a
that
Catholic thing. Yeah.
that she's mentioned in Revelations. What the fuck? So
did God create her to? Now the question is, was she a normal person and God chose her, or did God? Well, I mean, because God knows all, so He knows the future, so He knows that there was going to be a human born. Was it through His design that she was immaculately conceived?
Seems that Christ
I don't know.
resurrected saved Mary
before He resurrected. Wait.
Interesting.
Wait. Jesus is a time traveler now? That seems like a contradiction.
That Christ's resurrection saved Mary before He resurrected. Oh, was it like His sacrifice that saved Mary?
Well, she was like saved before He even resurrected. Proto-Evangelium.
Oh, I think I see.
The Gospel of James. Now look at this. So the Gospel of James is considered not to be canon. His sacrifice had to be applied before it happened for Mary to be born sinless, which means there's no free will. But again, like if this is in the Proto-Evangelium of James, it is not considered non-canon.
Painless birth, yep.
Though there is...
okay. I think I understand now. Preemptive salvation.
Yeah, I know. Just because it's not canon doesn't mean that Catholic theology can't cite some of it to suit their... Oh, of course. Oh, 100%. You know, pick and choose.
If God applies salvation before the atonement, then why require the atonement at all?
Yeah.
Also, why couldn't God just like spawn in Jesus?
It's just a console command, spawn Jesus.
It took like 30 years for him to like grow up and shit. And like now start... Actually, I don't know. When did he start doing his miracles? What, like in his 20s? Yeah. So it took like 20 years for him to like, all right, now I'm getting busy. Not to mention the thousands of years of Jesus not being there. I don't know, dude.
Well, yeah, there's all because it's all
I've always
made
thought
up.
about
True.
that. Yeah.
I
Yep,
know.
yep.
I know I know Paul is under scrutiny, pretty often nowadays. Cause
Dog, them mommy milkers, bro. Oof.
Mia got you up with them. True.
I mean, shit. He created God GFs with mommy milkers for a reason. No.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Mm. Mommy
Well.
milkers. Ah.
Let's see.
Oh my god. Yeah, God is inherently evil if I don't have a goth girlfriend with mommy
True.
milkers. That is the problem of evil. That's the only like premise and conclusion all rolled into one.
If other societies knew about goth GFs, then everything would end up fine. The
Yeah,
world
dude.
would be at peace.
Yes. This is true.
Fuck.
It is not as if we were simply made to be this way. As a species, we choose to be this way every day instead of focusing on good and holy things. This is not how things were supposed to be. Early on, God called humans out of the wilderness to serve as priests over creation and to enter into a covenant with Him so that He could sanctify us to subdue the rest of creation in His name. This is the story of Eden. When Adam and Eve were called by God to be close to Him, this is the story of...
Wait, look at all these. Look at all these fruits. These are all clearly apples. This is... We found the secret. There were more than one apple.
God damn.
It's a conspiracy. It's apples all the way down.
That pulls all the way down is crazy.
God let me down, but maybe you guys can
God
help
let
me.
me down.
I mean, just don't be a dick, I guess. that can help. I'm not saying you are a dick, but if you are, then
God let me down,
Nope.
but maybe you guys can help me. Honestly, bro, we could probably help you better than God could.
we've actually spoken to you.
Yeah, I know, dude. That's crazy, dude. That's like half the battle right there.
True.
So God, well, if God's all powerful, He literally could spawn in a goth girlfriend for you. So, man, he's goofing. He's messing up, man.
Eden, when Adam and Eve were called by God to be close to Him and learn His ways. But they rejected the covenant God made with them and left His presence.
Wait a minute. Hold up. What do you mean learn His ways? Did he even like... He didn't even like communicate morals or anything.
Yeah. I mean, Adam and Eve were effectively children.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, but he didn't bestow anything
Actually,
upon them.
we don't know how old they were.
Yeah, didn't he just like spawn them in?
Or something, yeah. Like we don't know if they were adults or children or anything. I also settled for a memory foam bed with Jesus Christ.
Oh wait, no, it was something about dust. I think he used fucking dust and shit.
Born of dust.
And then
We're all just
he
dusty old
literally what's the word I'm looking for? He literally did like surgery on Adam and like took out his fucking rib.
Yep.
And was like what?
Surprise.
God, if you're all powerful, you do not need to take someone else's rib in order to create a female.
Well, he needed resources. Which means he's not all powerful. Yeah, who knows?
I'll also settle for a memory foam bed with a pussy in the middle of.
Yeah.
But
As
they
long as you
rejected
have the
covenant
memory
God
of
made
it.
with them and left His presence, so we could be our own gods. And with that came the freedom to go as far into evil as we wanted to, no matter how it would affect those around us. God did not doom us to a world of
Wait,
evil.
can you rewind that?
Yeah.
To be close to Him and learn His ways. but they rejected the covenant God made with them.
Yep. God said, "Don't bite the apple." They bit the apple. That was the end of it. That was
That's
the beginning
the
of
covenant,
human suffering.
And left his presence.
She was just
so
hungry, bro.
Yeah.
we could be our own gods. And with that came
Well, it's like an argument I use. It's like, okay, so there's a room full of, we'll say like 6-year-olds or something. Someone puts a flamethrower in the room, knowing those children are going to use the flamethrower. Is it the children's fault that they use the flamethrower, or is it the fault of the person that put the flamethrower in the room, who knew it was going to happen?
Yeah, I'm actually curious on how much. I've always wondered this. How much knowledge did Adam and Eve have?
Yeah.
Like, what did they know? What did they not know? What did they understand?
What language
What
did
did they
they
not
speak?
understand? Yeah, like, how did they communicate? Yeah, like, seriously, like, if it was the case that they were, like, pretty goddamn stupid, then it's on God.
They were goddamned and stupid.
Yeah, and yeah, I've always wondered that, like, how much did they actually know? You know. But anyway, continue.
the freedom to go as far into evil as we wanted to, no matter how it would affect those around us. God did not doom us to a world of evil. Our species, by
Adam ate. So, one, either Adam ruined everything and we're being dealt infinite punishment because of that. Thanks, Adam.
Collective punishment.
Yep. Or, what else was I going to say? Or, again, the flamethrower in the room full of 6-year-olds argument.
rejecting Eden did so.
Both are just bad.
And without God's protection in Eden and the tree of life, we now live in a world of moral and natural evil. Now, many will object they were not in Eden. How can we be forced to live in a fallen world that we did not choose? Clay Jones responds to this by saying, that we didn't individually vote to make Adam the head of our race doesn't matter, because God knows who can best represent us.
Does Adam represent us? Does he? Does he?
God just withheld so much information just so he could test them.
Like, to what extent?
So God's a fucking liar.
To what extent is Adam representative of us? Apparently, Adam was a man, allegedly. Half the population isn't men. How is he representing women? I don't know. It just doesn't actually make sense.
Also, if God knew that all of us would have acted similarly, he does no...
Yeah, I mean, this is just circular. It's God created... Well, I mean, God created Adam to be representative of our race. He created Adam in his image, knew that he would be allegedly the best representative of our race, knew what the results of all of it was going to be because he can see the future, because he's all-knowing, and went with it anyway, knowing that it would cause great suffering if he created Adam. He knew all of it was going to happen. I mean, God just wants an ego trip. He just wants people to love him. He's desperate.
Dude, God could have created a different... I don't know, dude. God could have created a different universe. That's all that I really care about is, like, if God could have created a universe where just even, like, literally the smallest difference that would have been positive, he could have created that, but he didn't.
Part of me wishes we would just find intelligent life as soon as possible, just so, like, on another planet or something, just so people aren't so involved in this. Like, come on.
Yeah, I wonder
it's-
if we do find alien life, how many Christians would deconvert?
I mean, the thing that'll probably happen before then is we're going to be able to observe the creation of life from non-life. I would say is way more likely. I imagine for however long humanity is going to last, we're probably never going to find evidence of quote unquote intelligent life anywhere. Like we might find life, but
Yeah.
but no, like I mean we have most of, if not all, the pieces for abiogenesis. We just have to figure out how they fit together. So so it's probably only a matter of time until then, and a lot of that's going to probably deal a pretty big blow to Christianity, simply based upon the fact that God is the only thing that, well, they claim that God is the only thing that can create life.
I actually got to get off here pretty soon.
Yeah, we can call it here. We can call it here.
Yeah, I need to go feed my bearded dragon, then go to my sister's place to feed her cat because she just went out of town. So.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Well, thank you everyone for stopping by. Hope you had a good time watching the stream. Please leave like, follow, subscribe, whatever, any of that shit. And we also debate about other topics such as abortion, trans rights, Trump and policies, and Christian nationalism, and so on and so forth. A lot of things. Anyway, you all have a nice day, and we'll see you next time.